All right, so welcome to the last video of the year. You'll never see an Algebra 2 Regents again. This is for the June 2018 Regents. I'm just going to show you the date. So June 2018 Regents. That's the one that I'm going to do the video key for the last. It's the one that you picked up as a blank. So question number 1 says the graphs of two equations. You have to get the y by itself to graph it. So we're going to just subtract 3 from both sides. Boom. So you get y is equal to x minus 3. So we're going to go to our calculator. Do this along with me, okay? So go to y equals and type in the first one, x squared plus 4x minus 1. And then type in the second one, which is x minus 3. And then you want to just hit graph so you can see what it's going to look like. And then to find out the solution, it looks like it crosses it twice right here. So we can verify that. But the easiest way to do it is to go to second table, and we're looking for where the y1 and y2 are the same. So one of the coordinates that it's giving me is 1 comma 4. So 1 4 is 4 negative 2, so that's not right. Let's try negative 2 negative 1 just because we can see it. Let's see if that's right, and boom, negative 2. Oh, it doesn't cross at negative 1, it crosses at negative 5. So that is not it. I'm going to move this over here. So it says negative 1, negative 4. Yep, that works, right? Negative 1, negative 4, negative 4. So that is where the solution is. So that is the correct answer. And I'm just going to show you why the other one does not work, right? So the last one is negative 5. This is 4. This is negative 8. They are not the same. So this does not work as well. Okay. Another way to do it is going to, this is just in case, this is a part 2 question. Second trace, which is calc. Option number 5 is intersection, so you could hit that. And you're going to go ahead and just go down to the intersection or to the curve and just hit enter, enter, and enter, and it'll give you the coordinates negative 1, negative 4. Boom, so that's correct. Okay. Let's move on. So which statement is always true or true about this function right here? So we're going to go ahead and go to the calculator again. This is definitely a calculator question. So I'm going to go ahead and clear what's there. Also clear. I love this song. So this is 1/8 to the x. So I'm going to plug it in exactly as is, just because I can. Alpha y equals gives me a fraction. So 1/8 close parentheses to the x power. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit graph. So the first thing that I will see when I do this is my function is just decreasing. It's just going like this, really down to the x-axis, which is this x-axis is the equation. If I go like this and I draw it, um, and I were to draw my axis, let's say it's like this, right? This is a horrible axis, but what's going to happen to the graph here is it's going to get really close to where y is equal to 0, but it's never going to cross it. It's never going to get to the negative side. So the graph is always increasing is wrong. It's asking me which one is true. The graph is always increasing is going to be correct. The graph passes through 1 comma 0, so I can check that, right? So I hit second graph, and if I look at 1, it's not. It's 1/8. So that is also incorrect. And the graph has an asymptote. This is a vocabulary word. Asymptote just is a line that it doesn't cross. So here the asymptote is the x-axis, which is the line y equals 0. This is why it's wrong, because it says x equals 0. X equals 0, just so you know, is the y-axis. The y-axis right here. That's where x equals 0. So that is not the asymptote, because as you can tell, it crosses here. But that is not correct. And you can use the graph to verify that what I'm saying is true, right? The y-axis is not the asymptote because it actually crosses that. All right? All right, next, number 3. For all values of x for which the expression is defined, blah, 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 in simplest form, you need to definitely make sure. So is equivalent to, and I did show you how you could do this with the calculator using the store button. So you could pick a number, a random number. I usually pick 2.7. I'm not going to go through it this way because I do want to show you how to do this by hand. However, how you store numbers into the calculator is you put in the number you want to store. So I always just use 2.7. I don't know why. It's just a random number. Then I hit the store button, and then I change it into X. And then to see if it's equivalent or not, I'm going to plug this whole thing in So you plug that whole thing in here, and then you hit enter, and then you do that same thing for the answer choices, and you see which one matches. Okay, we did go through this in class, so I'm not going to go through it that way. The other way I did show this to you in class is you look for the one that is not in simplest form, which this is not in simplest form. So x squared minus 9 can be simplified to x plus 3 and x minus 3. This is how you showed you could do this question in about 20 seconds. On the bottom, there's a x parentheses x minus 3. These cancel out. X plus 3 over x is your final answer, which is there right there. How do you do it by hand, though? Like, what if you didn't know any of those? You could just go ahead on the top, split it into 2 whenever there's 4 things. So I'm going to factor this part right here. So I take out an x squared. And if I do that, I'm left with an x plus 2. And then over here, I know in the parentheses, I'm going to have an x plus 2. So this number right here is going to be a negative 9. On the bottom, I can factor out an x parentheses, and I'm left with x squared minus x minus 6. And these can be factored further. So my x plus 2 is going to be written out once. So I write down the x plus 2, and I write down what's left, right? The x plus 2 is gone. Then I'm left with an x squared and a minus 9. So I'm going to write x squared minus 9. And then on the bottom, I have x parentheses. I can double bubble this. That's going to be x minus, I said minus 3, and x plus 2. The x plus 2's can go ahead and just cancel out because they're the same. And we just went through the thing on the top, right? X squared plus 9 can be x plus 3 and x minus 3. And then on the bottom, I have x parentheses x minus 3. So they are looking forward, or they're banking on the fact that you're not going to simplify it, which is why they gave you this answer right here. But simplified in simplest form is going to be this right here. All right, that's question number 3. So the correct answer is 3 for question number 3. That is not always going to happen, but it happens here. Scatter plot relationship between the weight is best modeled by, so you could just go ahead and take this and plug it into the calculator, plug each of them into the calculator, and then see which one matches the best. So I'm going to pause it. All right, so I just plugged it in, the first one under y1, y2, y3, y4, and if you look at the graphs, we're just going to look for the one that matches. So it looks like it goes like this, right? Overall, so that very clearly is the red line right here. It's going to be like that, right? It's the only one that goes into the first quadrant right here. So that is the red graph. If I go back to y equals, I see that the red graph is choice 2. So boom, right there. Okay. Question number 5. Again, you could use the store button for this. I'm going to work this out just so I want you to know how to do this with part 2. So the easiest way is to, when it says square, so I'm going to do x plus 3i twice, x plus 3i. I'm going to do a minus sign, and it's going to be this one twice, 2x minus 3i times 2x minus 3i. So I'm going to FOIL here. So that's going to give me x squared plus 3xi plus another 3xi plus 9i squared minus, I'm going to do this one as well. So that's going to be 4x squared. Multiply that, that's going to be negative 6xi minus another 6xi. And then this right here is going to be plus 9i squared. And this whole thing gets subtracted. So then we're going to combine like terms here. So let me just switch colors just so you can see it. So these two right here are going to be combined. So it's going to be x squared plus 6xi plus 9i squared. And this is a negative sign times 4x squared is going to be negative 4x squared. This is going to be negative 12xi. But when you multiply it by the negative 1, there's an imaginary 1 there. That's going to become positive 12xi. And then this one, negative times a positive, is going to give you negative I squared. And you could tell I squared, just remember, is equal to negative 1. But low-key, you don't need to know that because these two cancel out. These are going to combine, so x squared minus 3x squared is, I'm sorry, minus 4x squared is going to be negative 3x squared. 6i plus 12xi is going to be plus 18xi. And you're looking for the one that matches with that, which is going to be choice number 3. Okay, pretty easy. Which function is even? So even, just so you know, is going to be reflected over the y-axis. So for example, if I go through something like that, that is even, because if I fold it along this y-axis, it's going to be symmetrical. So I'm going to pause it, graph, and see which one is equal to, is symmetrical. All right, so we're back. So I'm just going to go ahead and I graphed 1, 2. I didn't do 3 yet. I'll tell you why in a second. And I graphed 4. Okay, so it is not the first one, which is in blue, because if I've reflected over the y-axis right here, these are not the same, right? This goes down and this goes up. So they're not the same. It looks like it is going to be the red graph, which is x squared minus 4. But I'll prove that to you in a second. And the last one right here is x to the fourth plus 3x to the third plus 4. Okay, so that is definitely not even, which is it's not reflexive over the y-axis. The reason why I did not graph the third one, because I didn't know if you knew how to plug this into the calculator. This is called absolute value. So you hit math, go over to num, so move the right arrow, and then the first one is ABS, and then you just plug in x minus 2, x minus 2, and then it's plus 5, plus 5. Oh, I didn't put the plus sign. Plus 5, right? You need to make sure the plus 5 is outside the absolute value symbol. And then if I graph that one, that is going to be the last one that shows up, which that is also not reflexive over the y-axis. Like if I fold it on the y, it is not the same. So the only answer is choice number 2. Okay, which we knew all along, but like I said, I just wanted to make sure that you know how to graph it. All right. Question number 7. So the function models graph, blah, blah, blah. As soon as I see where it says average rate of, the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 should come up. x1, that's a 1, you get the point. So they're telling us over on which interval is it the fastest. So here's going to be your x1, your x2, your x1, your x2, right? Your x1, your x2, so on and so forth. Okay, the first one's x1, the second one's x2, x1, x2. So how do you do this, right? The easiest way is to take it and plug it into the calculator. All right, so I plugged the function into the calculator, which is right here. To get the e, it's going to be second and the ln button. Above that, there's an e to the. And then we're going to go to the tables. So second graph, and you're looking between the numbers of, for the first one, 1 to 10. So x1, x2, so we're going to do 10 minus 1 on the bottom. On the top, to get the numbers, you're just going to go to 10, which is 79.453. 79.453 minus, I'm just going to do one with you. The first one is, next to one is 97.726, 97.726. And when you hit enter in the calculator, you're going to do this yourself. The answer for this one is going to be negative 2.03. Okay. If you plug in the second one, which is this one right here, that answer is going to be from 10 to 20 is going to be negative 1.63. You actually need to do this. For the third one, for this one right here, it's going to be negative 1.46. And for the last one, which is from 1 to 30, it's going to be negative 1.64. Okay, and it's asking you which one is the fastest one. So the fastest one is going to be the one that is the largest number, not on a number line, okay, but it's asking you which one is the fastest. So it can be fastly increasing or fastly decreasing. So the one that's the highest at, this is a 1, 1, 1. This was the only one that is 2, so that correct answer is answer choice number 1, decaying the fastest. All right. Um, Next one. Which expression can be rewritten as this? You could, again, take this, plug this into the calculator, store this, hit enter, and see which one matches with it. I would, if we're going to do this by hand, you could just go ahead and, for the first one, we have x plus 3. When you square it, again, you're multiplying it by itself, and you're going to subtract 16. So when I do that, I'm going to get x squared plus 3x plus another 3x plus 9 minus 16. So that final answer, when you do it, is going to be x squared plus 6x. 9 minus 16 is, I'm sorry, 9, yeah, minus 16 is going to give me negative 7, right? Yeah, negative 7. And then if I want to see which one can be rewritten as this, so let's see if this right here is equal to that. So I'm going to FOIL this part right here, so that's going to give me x squared. This is going to be negative x. This is going to be positive 7x. Life would be great if this is the answer. And this is negative 7. Hey, that's promising. So x squared plus 6x minus 7. Same thing, right? Boom, we could stop right there. So correct answer choice is the first one. Okay. What is the solution set? So this one, we're going to look to see which one is the same denominator. So there's an x here and an x plus 3. So here, the x plus 3 is missing. So I have to do it to the top as well. Over here, there's an x plus 3, but the x is missing. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by x and multiply the top as well. Here, as x plus 3, the x is missing. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by x, which means I'm going to multiply the top by x. Now, when you have that, when the denominators are the same, they could just cross out, and you are left with the numerators, which is 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 3 is 6. I did distributive property here. This is minus 3x times x is going to be negative 3x squared is equal to x squared. So I'm going to put this all on the same side. So I'm going to go ahead and just add 3x squared here. Try to keep the x squareds positive. So I'm going to get is equal to 4x squared. And that's 2x plus 6. I'm going to set it equal to 0, so do minus 2x minus 6, minus 2x squared, 2x minus 6. Cancel, cancel. So this is going to be 4x squared minus 2x minus 6 equals 0. I can divide everything by 2. So that's going to give me 2x squared minus x minus 3. And then I can simplify that to give me, I could do AC method here. So AC method, 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me negative 6. And that add to give me negative, there's an imaginary 1. So this is going to be negative 3, positive 2. So this is going to come down, this is going to come down, 2x squared. The negative 3 is going to come down, and I can split the middle terms into plus 2x and a negative 3x. And then I just split this down the middle, right? And I can take out a 2x here, and I'm left with an x plus 1. I know that in this parentheses, there's also going to be an x plus 1, so I can factor out a negative 3. Check your work, negative 3, yep, yep. So then I'm left with 2x minus 3 in one, and x plus 1 in the other. Set them both equal to 0. So I'm going to get x equals 3 halves, because add 3, divide by 2, switch the sign of this, and I get x is equal to negative 1. Okay. But then you have to check your answer, make sure that you don't have any denominators equal to 0 here. So we have 3 halves and negative 1. So x equals 3 halves and x equals negative 1. So I'm going to go back to my original and see if any of them is going to make the denominator equal to 0. The negative 1 is safe, because negative 1 there, negative 1 plus 3 does not give me 0, so that's good. And the 3 half is safe as well, so my final answer is going to be both of them work. Okay, you can do this on the calculator by storing, not storing, sorry. You can go whatever's on the left hand side, plug it under y1, whatever's on the right hand side, plug it under y2, and see where those graphs intersect. Okay, do that as well, just to check. All right, number 10, you want to basically see which of these equations matches this graph right here. So the first thing that I want to find out is the midline, where it cuts the graph in half. So I can see that the midline is going to be right there. Looks like that number is going to be 9. Yep, 9, because this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's 9. So the midline is going to be 9, which means that this number right here is going to be 9. So I can cross these two out. And I want to see the first number. They both have 5 as the first number. So now I just need to figure out if it's going to be a cos or if it's going to be a sine graph. Just to refresh your memory, cosine looks like this, and sine is going to look like this. Okay, so the graph of cos is going to start at 1. The graph of sine is going to start at 0, or the midline. So in this case right here, knowing that, okay, it doesn't start from here and then go down. It starts from the midline, which is right here, and it goes up from it, which is what the graph of sine does. So the correct answer is going to be the one that has a sine in it, not a cos. Okay. All right. Number 11. So we didn't really do anything with independent, but I'm going to teach it to you right now, what independent is. So let's just look at what we have. So the probability that Nick oversleeps, probably that he oversleeps, is going to be 48%, which is 0.48. The probability that he has a pop quiz, so probability of pop quiz is going to be 25%, which is 0.25. Assuming that these two events are independent, what is the probability that he oversleeps and has a pop quiz on the same day? So the word "and" is going to imply multiplication. So we're just going to take the probability of oversleeping and probability of a pop quiz. Uh, that's going to be, we're going to just multiply these two. So it's going to be 0.48. Again, and means to multiply, or means to add. Multiply by 0.25, and when you do that, you're going to get 12%. This is 0.12, which is 12%. Correct answer. Okay. If x minus 1 is a factor, remember that if something's a factor, the remainder is going to be 0. So we take the sign, we switch it, so the opposite of -1 is +1, and we plug that in for our x's. So wherever you plug in for your x's, so we're going to have 1 to the third power minus k times 1 to the second power plus 2 times 1, which is 2. And we're going to set it equal to 0 because it's telling us it's a factor. So 1 minus k plus 2 is equal to 0. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 minus k equals 0. I'm going to add k to both sides, and I'm going to get k is equal to 3. So final answer, what is the value of k? Which is 3. That's it. Okay. So the next question you're going to need to know a formula for. So there's profit, there's revenue, and cost. So how do they relate? So please write this down. So profit is going to equal the revenue minus the cost. Always. Profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So they're telling us that the profit is this thingy thing. So we're just going to plug that in. So negative 0.5x squared plus 250x minus 300 is equal to, because there's the equal to sign x, and the revenue is this. So the revenue is negative 0.3x squared plus 150x, and then we have to do minus the cost. So we're just basically going to solve for c, which is right here. So we're going to move everything over to one side. So we can go ahead and just add this 0.3x squared, add it to this 0.3x squared, and then subtract 150x. So that lines up with this 150x. And then if we do that, this cancels out, and you are left with negative 0.2x squared, and then 250 minus that is positive 100x, and this is minus 30, and that's equal to negative c. So just switch the sign because we don't want negative c, we want cost. So switch the sign of everything, so that's going to be positive 0.x squared. So automatically these two are out. This is going to be negative 100x, so automatically it's the first one. Wait, did I put 30? I meant 300. Okay, good catch, Miss Verghese. Okay, number 14. All right, for number 14, it's saying there's going to be a growth increase. We want to look for a trend for the beginning of 2018, and we're going to see where it will become equal. So this is a formula that you do need to know. A is equal to P parentheses 1 plus or minus R to the T. This is for exponential growth or decay. So boom, here's our population starting. So that's going to be 1240. Since it's going to be increase, that's going to be 1 plus 0.06 to the t power, which is going to be our variable. And then we're saying where the population is equal, so we're going to set it equal to the other one, which is 890. And this is all going to be 11% increase, so 1 plus 0.11, and that's going to be raised to the t power as well. And we're trying to see where these are equal. So the easiest way to do this is on the calculator, is to take it, plug it into the calculator. All right, so I went ahead and plugged it into the calculator while this Soltera song is on. So yeah, I just plugged it into the calculator exactly like how I wrote it. The first one under Y1, the second one under Y2, and now I'm looking for where they intersect. There's a problem that's going to happen when I hit graph. I'm not going to see anything, right? Like you see this working, but nothing's happening. And the reason why, if you think about it, these numbers are really huge and it's increasing, it's going up. So I'm gonna have to definitely change my window. So since I have 1240 here and 890, whenever it finishes graphing or trying to graph, I'm gonna hit window. Nope, it's not done yet. I need to have a little bit of patience. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and change everything. So I'm going to change my Y max, which is the one that's going to be impacted the most. And I know that the minimum number I'm going to have to put is like 1240. So let's just go crazy and just put 5,000. Okay. Because I know it's going to be increasing. Let's see if that works. Okay. Now I'm seeing something. So that makes sense. 1240 is going to be 5,000 here. 1240 is about here and it's increasing from that amount. Now hopefully the intersection is going to be right within graphing thingy thing. Is it yay! It's gonna cross. So the reason why I want to change the window is because I need to see the point of intersection for me to go like this. Second trace or calc. Option number 5, which is intersection. I'm gonna go over to where that is. Da, 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 da. I should be able to like kind of like stop and just be like hit enter. Second curve, enter. Guess, hit enter. Let's see if it does it. Okay, it did it. So the point of intersection, I'm looking for where they're equal. So that's my x. So this is 7.19, 7.2, which is the one that's the closest. Yeah. So it says approximately how many years. So that's about 7 years. Okay. So that was actually a good lesson in graphing and how to change the window. Anytime you're like, put it back, remember that you can hit second plus 712, and that's going to reset your calculator. So it's back to normal, and now if I go to graph, you're going to see your regular negative 10 to 10. Okay, what is the inverse? So inverse means we're going to switch x and y. So here f of x is equal to y, so y is equal to x cubed minus 2. I didn't do the inverse yet, so my inverse says wherever my y's are, I'm going to put an x. So x is equal to this y. This x is going to become a y to the third minus 2. And then none of my answer choices looks like that, so I'm going to go ahead and solve for my y. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Add 2. So I have x plus 2 is equal to y to the third. To get the y by itself, I have to do the cube root. So the cube root of this and the cube root of this, which cancels these, the cube root and the cube cancel each other out, so you're just left with y, and you're going to find the one that matches, which is choice 3. All right. All right, I'm sorry this is taking a while. I think it's good to kind of go over this. A fourth degree polynomial has zeros, so you have negative 5, 3. So negative 5 and 3, okay. And then you have 2 imaginary solutions. These are real solutions, so it cannot be this one, okay? Real means that it crosses the x-axis. So negative 5 is a real number, 3 is a real number, but I and negative I are not. So this one right here is also wrong because this is negative 3 and positive 5. That's not what I have, but I'm not going to switch it, which means that this one's wrong also because the roots are negative 5, positive 3. This says negative 3, positive 5, so the only one that works is this one. And again, one more time, the roots are real, negative 5 and 3. Do not switch it. The only time you're switching it is when you're putting it into factors. Like if I was looking for factors, this would be x plus 5 and x minus 3. And then this would be x plus I and x minus I. Plus I and x minus I. But I'm not switching it, okay? I'm not looking for the factors, I'm looking for the actual roots. So this one has factors of negative 5, 3, and imaginary means, again, that it does not touch the x-axis, so boom, number 16 is our answer. All right, this question is straight calculator. Weighs less than 4.27 means that it could be 4.27 or down. Smallest number, I could put 0 there, I could put negative 1. I need the mean, so the mean symbol, there's x with a line over it, or it's a little u, and the standard deviation looks like a O with a line on it. How I get there in my calculator to plug it in, once my calculator freaking goes on, there we go, is you're going to hit second and distributive, which is second vars. Okay, and you always are going to use normal CDF. We never use normal PDF, so it's option number 2. Here, lower, you could leave it like that, or you could just go ahead and put in the 0. Upper, we said that the upper, let me just move this over here, is going to be 4.27. So upper is 4.27. The mean, it tells us, is 4.3, so you plug that in, and then the standard deviation is 0.05. So 0.05, and you just hit a whole bunch of enters until it gives you an answer, 0.274, which is choice 2. Okay. Number 18. All right, number 18. So it's saying which is when it's equivalent to this one. So we can go ahead and we could store a number in for D and then graph this, and see where they intersect. I'm just going to show you how to do this algebraically. So we're going to have 100 parentheses 1/2 to the D over 8 is equal to, because it's asking you where it's equivalent to, 100 e to the kd power. They both have 100 in it, so we could divide both by 100, and then these cancel out. So you're left with 1/2 to the d over 8 is equal to e to the kd. So if you take a look, the d is the same, right? The d is the same in both. So this right here, this right here. So you could just cancel them out, and if there's no number on top, there's an imaginary 1. So we have 1/2 to the 1 over 8 is equal to e to the k. To get rid of, we want to get the k by itself, so to get rid of the e, we have to do ln. Let me go back. So ln, because ln and e, if you look on the calculator in case you forgot, here's e, here's ln. They are opposites of each other. So the e and the ln cancel each other out, and you're just left with k is equal to, and then this is just something that you could plug into the calculator. Ln of 1/2 to the 1/8 power is going to give you negative 0.087, which is choice 1. All right. Question number 19. So the graph is translated right 1 unit. So this is going to be going to the right unit and 1 down. So to refresh your memory, if you had something that looks like this right here, which is y equals x squared, if you're going to the right and 1 down, you're going to go ahead. 1 down is going to be the number right here, the number that's by itself, and the right or left is going to be the one that's in the parentheses. So and it's also left or right is going to be the opposite what you think. So you're thinking that right 1 is going to be +1, but the opposite of that is going to be a -1. So this is going to be x minus 1. So if I apply that knowledge to what I have as the question, right? I'm going to take, this is my equation, so I'm going to do the same thing to it. So I have a log of base 2, and it's saying that it's going to be translated to the right one, which I'm going to subtract 1 from it. So this is going to be x minus 1, and then it's moving down 1 right here. So I'm going to do a minus 1 right here, and I'm looking for the one that's my graph, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my equation or to my calculator and see what the intercept is. All right, so I went ahead and graphed it. So now how do you get this little 2 right here as the base? You hit math and you go down to log base. That's how you plug that in. And then now we're looking for the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is where the y is equal to 0, just to refresh your memory, so that the y equals 0 is right here. So 3 comma 0 is going to be my x-intercept, which is option number 4. Question number 20. Equivalent to, again, this could be a straight calculator question. Take a number stored in for x, plug it into the calculator, hit enter, and see which one matches, and it's going to be answer choice number 2. If you need me to go through this by hand, the square root of 16 is going to be 4. Square root and the x squared are going to cancel each other out, so it's going to be 4x. And then I have plus x to the 2/3 plus, and then I can break this up into the cube root of 8 and the cube root of x to the 5th. So just to help us out a little bit, there's an imaginary 1 here, so I can take, because I'm adding these two right here. No, there's a multiplication. There's a multiplication right there. So when I'm multiplying, I add my exponents. So 1 plus 2/3. When I add them, that's going to give me 4x to the 5/3. Because add 1 plus 2/3 in your calculator. Plus the cube root of 8 is going to be 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And this is going to be rewritten as, this is 3 is my root, that goes on the bottom. 5 is my exponent, goes on the top. I have 4 plus 2 gives me 6, and then this is the same, so I just bring that over, which is what allows me to add them in the first place, and that's equal to number 2. Okay. Parabola directrix focus. So I always taught you to do this by graphing. So -2, +5, 4, 5. There's my focus. And a directrix of y equals 9. This is 5 already, so 6, 7, 8, 9. And I taught you how to make this with a dotted line. You look for the point in the middle of the two of them. So it's going to be right there. So this point is going to be at -2, 7. That makes sense because 7 is between 5 and 9. So there's my directrix. I'm sorry, there's my vertex right there. So this is, first number is my h, second number is my k. I need to figure out the distance here, so that's going to be p is equal to 2. Since it can never, the parabola can never cross my line, it's going to be a negative parabola like this, so it's going to be p is equal to -2, and then I plug it into my formula. So my formula is x minus h squared is equal to 4p y minus k. You do need to memorize that, so don't assume that that's going to be given. The opposite of h, which is -2, is +2. Squared is equal to 4, p is -2, so I plug that in, and y minus k, so it's going to be -7. And I have to find the one that matches with this. So x plus 2 squared, it's going to be, boom, either right, one of these two. And this is going to equal -8 parentheses y minus 7. So -8 parentheses y minus 7. So it's going to be 21 is going to be choice 4. Okay. Which identity is true. So it's just asking you to go ahead and plug this stuff in. So I have this right here. X equals y minus z. I have to see if that's true. So I'm going to take x, which is equal to a plus b plus c squared, and I have to see if that gives me, this is annoying because I have to do all of these out. So y, which this is y, which is a squared plus b squared plus c squared. And then I have to do minus z, so z is this. So ab plus bc plus ac. See, when I get lazy, I just start like combining stuff. So this one, when I FOIL this out, the A plus B plus C, when I FOIL that out, we want to see if that's going to be the same thing. So this one right here is going to be A plus B plus C squared, which is A plus B plus C. And I have to see if that's going to give me A squared plus B squared plus C squared minus AB minus BC minus AC. And it is not going to give me that. You could see that because that's going to be A squared, that's going to be AB, that's going to be AC, AC, and then here is going to be another AB, right? These two. This is going to be B squared, so plus B squared. This is going to be CA, so plus another AC here. This is going to be CB, so plus CB. So there's going to be a couple of, like, two of them in there, so that's not going to be the same. The one when you do this is going to be the same is choice 4. That's going to take me a very long time to do, but it's going to be y plus 2z. Okay, uh, yeah, work through that. That's going to take a while to do. All right. On average, college seniors graduating could compute blah blah blah. It's again asking us which one is equivalent to. So this, anytime it says is equivalent to, I could do this with the calculator, but this thing is, there's things to note. This is in years and this is in days, okay? So we have to convert from days to years. So they're telling us that the first amount is going to be 29,400, 400, and this is going to be time in years. So it's going to be 1.068, 0.068. And then since we're converting, there are 365 days in 1 year, right? In 1 year. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to raise this to the 1 over 365 power. And whatever number we put here, we also have to raise it to the t power. This is the same formula as the A equals P parentheses 1 plus or minus R to the T formula. When you're either compounding or you're changing the time, you just, whatever number you put here on the bottom goes here on the top. And we have to find the one that matches, which is going to be choice number 4. All right. The next and last one for the multiple choice. Manufacturing plant. Are you trying to see which one is going to be converted? So this is pounds, and this is in ounces. So in the reference sheet, 1 pound is the same thing as 16 ounces. Uh, so we have to see what the conversion is going to be. So the easiest way to think about this question is it's needed to hold 124 ounces. So we're going to have to convert everything into ounces. The X is already in ounces, so you could leave that there. But the other ways, Y pounds, so we need to convert this. So there are 16 ounces in a pound, so we have to take the number of pounds and multiply it by 16. And that is answer choice number 3. Okay, done with the video key for multiple choice. Sheesh, that was a long one. All right, thank you for being patient.